games! War games! War games! Sorry about that. I just wanted to have a bit of fun because, of course, this weekend, on Saturday night, I prefer Sunday pay-per-views, premium live events, it is the Survivor Series, which now seems set to be dedicated to War Games. That's right, it's been removed from NXT, it's been put on the main roster, because this is what Triple H wanted to do in the first place, but Vince McMahon was all like, ha ha ha, no thanks, pal. So finally, we have come of age. Which of course means, hello, my name is Simon What Culture, thank you very much for joining me as always. It's time to take our brains, make sure you do in the comments too, and predict what's going to happen at the Survivor Series. And in case you don't know, I'm not very good at this, mostly because I don't do boring predictions. I have some fun, because that's what life is all about. So we will start with a very intriguing match, mostly because I don't know who I'm meant to like and who I'm meant to hate. Almost as if I'm meant to make my own decisions. But we do have Bobby Lashley versus Austin Theory versus Seth Rollins for the United States Championship, and these three dudes have been butting heads for ages. I mean, it was because of Bob that Austin lost his Money in the Bank briefcase, so we've been doing some storytelling here. The real weird part is that I swear Seth Rollins turned babyface for about 1 week, and Bobby Lashley was definitely a heel for his mini feud with Brock Lesnar, but then he kind of transitioned back to being a good guy, and Austin Theory is now walking around with this badass attitude. I'm like, well, now I like you more. So all of this is absolutely crazy. It also does kind of underline the fact that we do need a world title back on Raw, because it would help this no end. But still, I do think you have to give props to WWE, because when this was announced and I sat down and thought about it, got pretty damn excited. I think it will be a really good match. So here is my weird fun theory. Again, don't forget that's what we always do here. And I have now decided, especially given what Seth said on a recent episode of Raw, that Cody Rhodes is about to come back. Yep. I don't think he's going to tie into the Survivor Series, but I do think it means that Seth Rollins is going to lose the United States Championship. And he's not going to lose it to Bob either. I think we're actually going to give it to Austin Theory. Now, I'm not sure where that does leave Bobby Lashley, although he does need a third match with Brock Lesnar to decide who wins all of that. But it goes to show that we are pushing Austin, we're just doing it in a different way. And you have to figure that if Cody does return to WWE, or when he returns, you have to do one last match with Seth Rollins. I mean, you could probably argue that's not necessary, but that's just the way that WWE books. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Bobby Lashley destroys everyone, and Austin Theory kind of does some cowardly tactics maybe, and he gets the pin over Seth Rollins, but every single person also has an out. But the major point you need to take away is this. That's right, I'm betting on Theory. And you thought he got buried when he lost his briefcase. Which brings us to what could be the best pure match of the night. AJ Styles versus Finn Balor. Now, yes, this is going to be Shenanigans Central because you've got the OC on one side and you have the Judgment Day on the other side. But that's totally fine because the story has justified this since day one. And also, I just like everybody involved here. So if I get to see them with my eyes, good. And all I really need is for WWE to say to both of them, you're going to get a chunk of time, go out there and make some magic. I mean, even though they're both in their 40s, they're just so damn good. To the point, I don't care who wins and I don't care who loses, because I know by the end of it, I'm going to be doing my I Love Wrestling dance. However, of course, we do have to make a prediction, so I will give it to AJ Styles, mostly because Finn has won loads in 2022, and the reason I emphasize that word so much is because under Vince McMahon, he couldn't buy a victory. Finally, Triple H is doing it right. There will, of course, be some nonsense as well. I mean, Damian Priest, or Luke Gallows, or Carl Anderson, or Dominic Mysterio. Maybe Edge and Beth Phoenix come back. You just don't know. But I do think that Styles has to get something from this feud, because at the moment he's had nothing, giving it to Ash. I'm not sure that any of this is going to be the same when we get to the SmackDown Women's Championship. Ronda Rousey versus Shotzi. Now, I get this sounds harsh, but it all comes down to what happened on SmackDown last week. Now, as of me talking to you, I haven't seen the Go Home episode of SmackDown because that's future Simon's things to watch and I have deadlines. But this was exactly the same thing that we did with Liv Morgan. Shayna Baszler just creeped the crap out of the Greenhead Warrior to the point I was like, well, what chance do you stand against Ronda? And I do understand this because I want Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler to be presented like absolute badasses. You can't just destroy everybody else because who's going to be left? So I'm so confident with this one, I'm going to put my hair on the line. But no part of my being, no part of my body actually thinks that Shotzi has a chance of winning. And even if Ronda is going to get the W, you have to have that seed of doubt where you go, well, I'm 99% sure, but what if? There is no what if here. It wouldn't even surprise me if shots lost in around about 2 minutes. And I suppose if you want to come out with some crazy idea, you could say Shayna Baszler turns on Ronda Rousey. But if we do that, I'm going to punch myself in the face because I have wanted those two to be a team for ages and they have to be united for at least 12 months. Not gonna lie, after Ronda Rousey loses the Women's Championship, I think they should be tag team champions. That's another video for a different day. Giving it to Rousey. Which brings us to our men's War Games match, which is going to be the Bloodline taking on the Brawling Brutes, Kevin Owens and Drew McIntyre. And I am going to give you a Simon Miller guarantee. This is gonna be flubbing brilliant. And I can just feel it in my bones because not only is everybody in this top tier talent, but I bet WWE says to both the males and the females, listen, you have to go out there and you have to make this something because we want to make Survivor Series the War Games Day and we want to make the War Games Day the Survivor Series Day. So we have to prove to everybody that we've got what it takes. And when you say that to a wrestling talent, they're going to be like, oh yeah, and they're going to go do crazy stuff. If you've never actually seen a War Games 2 because you're not into NXT and you weren't born when WCW's around, you're also going to need to be sold on this idea. But once again, just go through the field. Who is going to drop the ball? I don't even think it's possible. Even if they got in the ring and played snakes and ladders, when we got to like the top left side of the board, I'd be going, whoa, I can't believe it. Anyway, to get back on track and to make you go, what? I'm calling the finish. Kevin Owens is pinning Roman Reigns. And I know that Roman rarely gets pinned, but that is why matches like this are so damn good. Because if KO does get the 1, 2, 3 over Reigns, he doesn't become WWE champion, he doesn't become WWE Universal champion, but what he does become is a man that can walk out on Raw and be like, oh hi, head of the table, I just sat in your seat, and because I now do have a visual pinfall over you, I am challenging you for those belts at the Royal Rumble. I mean, if you're not going to have any kind of situation where you think maybe, just maybe Roman can lose, then what is even the point? It's going to get boring. That's why Clash at the Castle worked as well as it did, because Drew McIntyre was in his fake hometown, so you thought, well, we are in the fake hometown, maybe they will coronate him, and just go and read the rumors. WWE considered it, but ultimately they didn't decide to do it, so let's do all again with Kevin Owens. So after Owens wins with the stunner, we can do this, and maybe that's where Sami Zayn gets involved, and somehow that helps Roman Reigns win, but then they all fall out with each other, and we move on to WrestleMania, where we do Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn taking on the Usos, where it is KO and Sami that finally relieve them of their tag team championships. And I know it'd be better if Sami Zayn was the person to get the title off Roman, I don't think WWE is going to do that, and that is a damn good plan B. I would just relax with this one though, because it is going to be proper sports entertainers killing themselves for our entertainment, which is always a weird thing to say. I would also keep my eye on Sheamus if I were you. I think he's going to have a banger. I'm also going to throw Drew McIntyre in there as well, because I have another prediction that I didn't even need to do, so now I'm making myself an absolute moron. But they could fall out during this. That's right, because for many a year they have said, wouldn't it be great if we could have a match at WrestleMania? So maybe we plant some seeds here and we get to April, and on the grandest stage of them all, we do Irishman versus Scotsman, who was a Welshman for a little bit back there. Anyway, that is me facilitating the future when there is no need, but I'm saying the good guys win, and Kevin Owens beats Roman Reigns. Which brings us to our last match on the show, if you can believe it. Now, once again, some more things may get added on SmackDown, but Triple H does like his 5/6 pay-per-view cards, premium live event cards, and we're up to 5. So we could do Gunther versus Braun Strowman, and Gunther would win that one. And I think maybe The Miz versus Dexter Lumis is on this show, but I'm not sure. But if it does happen, you're going to have to assume that Dexter is going to win. But forget all about that. Time to talk about women's war games. So once again, I am talking to you before that final SmackDown, so we are about to discuss potential spoilers, so go away for a second if you don't want those, because everybody is saying the last person on Bianca Belair's team is going to be Becky flipping Lynch. So that means it would also result in it being Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Bianca Belair, Mia Yim, and Becky Lynch taking on Damage Control, Nikki Cross, and Rhea Ripley. So we're just back in the same situation. Do you think in any reality that's going to be bad? Let's ask it. Hey, alternative reality, is that going to be bad? No. See, that wasn't me. There are so many things you can do here too, especially when we go back to Raw. Because when Alexa Bliss was involved in that brawl at the end, Corey Graves just wouldn't shut up about the fact. He kept going, oh man, Alexa, she doesn't really seem like she's into this. Oh, something's going on with Alexa. And given that we have been teasing that she's going to go back with Bray Wyatt, well, I think she may just freak out here and eventually get back with Bray Wyatt. Speaking of Bray Wyatt too, we could also do Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight at the Survivor Series, and if that does happen, of course, Bray is going to win. But actually, no. Now that we are talking about it, I am locking it in. That's right, I'm locking it in as a prediction. Alexa Bliss will somehow do something bad here. She's just going to walk off. I'm also intrigued about Becky's involvement because really you have to imagine that WWE is going to bring her back as a super duper good guy and start her planned match against Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania 39. That leads us to the finish of this thing and what the hell we're gonna do. Because do not forget that Rhea Ripley is in this too, and as we are headed to WrestleMania, or we are starting to talk about it, I absolutely would do Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship, and you know what? I'd have Rhea win. That is why I would just copy what I predicted we're gonna do in the men's one. It is Rhea Ripley that pins Bianca Belair, so she can come out on Raw and say, listen Bianca, I want to fight you now, but I want to fight you at WrestleMania. So while she goes on to the granddaddy of them all and becomes Raw Women's Champion, Kevin Owens does not, and that's where you get your differentiation. It also allows another opening, which is Becky Lynch to have a good showing here, enter the Royal Rumble, win that, so she can challenge Ronda at WrestleMania 39. So look what I've done here. I've just ticked all those boxes for the next 5 months. It's also what people want, so just do it. I don't care if Becky Lynch has won the Royal Rumble before. If she does survive and she has stood there with the whoa, everyone is gonna have a smile on their face. And if something so simple is going to achieve that, just do it. Nike. As for everybody else involved in this, I have no idea, but I feel like I've given you enough. Alexa Bliss freaks out. Becky Lynch definitely does something. Well, if it is her, and the big one is Rhea Ripley is gonna run rampant in this, much like she used to do when War Games was on NXT. It's almost like it writes itself. Now, of course, the most important thing to do is go into the predictions and let me know what you think is going to happen at the Survivor Series. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Head over to whatculture.com where you can read us some articles. Make sure you come follow us on social media at WhatCulture, WWE, and Simon Miller 316. And we have other videos. There's predictions, there's news, there's ups and downs, there's lists, there's crazy stuff. Why don't you check one out? My name's Simon What Culture. Thank you very much as always. And I do believe Survivor Series is the last WWE Premium Live event of the year. So that's kind of crazy because there's been a lot of them. Make sure you enjoy it. See you soon.